Good morning and welcome to Think About Thursday. Good morning, everyone. We are here live with you wherever you are. I want you to think about this question today, and you can call us at 1-800, or excuse me, 1-888-721-9260. Lines are open, and you can be live with us right here. What beliefs about yourself are you willing to let go of? And with that comes a lot of thinking and thoughtful questions. Our segment this morning is Think About Thursday. I want to thank those of you who are still finding our pages. Thank you. We are able to be found on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Over the web, we're here. Thank you so much for joining us. When we think about ourselves, I want you to think about some things and let's work it out with you. Perhaps you may be thinking about control, or maybe you feel like you need to control things. When you're in control, are you less happy? Or unless you are in control, are you your happiest? Maybe thinking about believing that you know everything. And what happens if you don't know everything and you admit that? Because some people really believe that they have the answer to all questions, to all that is discussed. I know someone like that. What about your job? No, not the one you work at, but the one that you feel that you need to take care of everyone. How many of you know someone like that? They have to be taking care of everyone. What is your thought about that? Well, as we go on, we're going to learn some things about ourselves. I hope you will join me today. I hope that you will listen. And most of all, in the comment section, put your thoughts there. So our topic today is, what belief about yourself is it time to let go of? How about thinking that people who don't try new things. You ever thought about if you don't try new things, that makes you a failure or a loser? What do you think about that? Or if you complained about something that was really bothering you, that it was pointless? How about you're too good for people? Here's one for you: that you're smarter than someone, or that you have a perception that perhaps someone is smarter than you. We all are made to be intelligent. Just remember that. I want you to be aware, and I've always said this: be aware of you. It starts with you being conscious. Uh, when we have beliefs about something, it affects us. It affects our motive. It influences our characteristics. It indeed does affect us. Who are you, though? Does it determine who you are if you believe one way and I believe another way? Are we accepting negative belief about ourselves? Because even the negative can choose to affect us. Even the negative. The negative can affect us. We're here, and I really want you guys to get into our program today. Thinking about Thursday is not where we just have another segment, but in fact, Think About Thursday helps you to answer questions. And here's one for you. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am a bit better today.
Were you sick?
No, I just had an allergic reaction I'm getting over. So,
You said what now?
I said I just have an allergic reaction I'm getting over. So,
Oh my goodness. Are you going to be okay?
I think so.
Okay. I'm glad you're good. Hold on just a minute, guys. Sorry about that. We are live, guys, and people are texting. I apologize. So now, beliefs. Oh my goodness. Speaking of allergies, speaking of allergies, so we're going to talk about beliefs, self beliefs. What do you believe, excuse me, about yourself? Um, what are some self beliefs that influence you? Did anyone, when I asked that question, have just one thing? Or did you have a lot of things that ran in your mind? What did you do, Trish? I had a lot of things.
I have a lot of things as well.
Yeah. We have things that we may think about subconsciously. We have things that have been taught to us. But what I want you guys to know is that we're talking about personal things. Uh, you might believe that, well, I'll tell you a belief. I believe that IHOP makes the best pancakes. What's your belief about that statement, Trish?
I think it does, but I like I like Burger King's pancakes better.
Okay. So those are what we just demonstrated for you guys are personal beliefs. Personal beliefs. And this is how you share a conversation. And I want to talk about this for a moment because a lot of times people want to argue the point. But what's the matter with sharing your personal beliefs? What would be wrong with me making that statement? Because that's the way I feel. And you come and you say, I don't agree with you. I think the best pancakes are such and such. What have I done there? How can that lead into a debate? How do we avoid that debating? Because we all believe in something, right? We believe in something. I believe that where I live, the desert is hot. If you don't agree with that, and you say, well, not really, it becomes an opinion. Our beliefs are the way we feel. Maybe some things have been taught to us. Uh, if I said, what did you think about the movie? And you say, I really thought that was a good movie. And I say, yes, it was a good movie and I add things. What we don't want to do is disagree to agree. And that's one of my pet peeves. If you totally, good morning, whoever is with us, good morning, good morning. Glad you're here. And today we are talking about self-beliefs. We want to make sure that when we share beliefs, what we think and feel, that we don't have to force it upon someone. We can just have a general conversation. What do you guys think about that? We don't have to force people to believe how we believe. We can accept their thinking and accept their personal choices. Your beliefs. Are you trying to be in control of someone? Because what we do with ourselves, we need to think about having access to us. Not walking around feeling like we need to have control of everyone and everything. We need to think about why we feel the way we do. We need to be focused on feeling why we feel, how we feel. Because everybody doesn't feel the way you do. You know, people have different feelings. You know, let's think about relationships. How do you feel about relationships? I was talking with someone the other day and they said, you know, relationships for me are difficult. So I'd rather not get in them. Was there anything wrong with me just listening? No. But if I had have said, you shouldn't feel that way, you should feel like this. What I did was listen, and I said, you know, I understand the way you feel. Good morning again, whomever is on here. We welcome you with open arms. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, I can.
So, in the conversation, instead of trying to control the person's thought, I let them be in control of what they said. While listening, I interjected after they spoke and I said, I understand. But that's their belief. I don't always have to be in control. Can we learn something? Can we learn that we don't have to be in command all the time? We don't have to be the person that has to fix everything. And while we're talking about that, here's a belief that I am willing to let go of. I'm not the fixer-all. And that's why I don't engage in coaching and client or counseling to tell you what to do. What I do is help you to use your own brain. You get a lesson in that to connect with your own feeling, that it is okay to talk about your feelings, to be aware of your feelings. So that's what I'm willing to let go of, not being the fixer of all, because it doesn't help you to develop your own tools. What are we understanding about our beliefs? Do we understand that when we believe something, that it has influenced us? It motivates our behavior. It helps us to make an assessment of abilities that we have, and it eventually has desired outcomes. We're talking about understanding what you understand about those beliefs. Um, when you need to complete something, are you understanding as to how to go about it? The brain, a terrible thing to waste. The brain, so powerful. I challenge you each and every session, each and every podcast to learn about it so that you are able to say, I've done that. I actually did that. Oh, that's how that works. See, it's just not about having a podcast, but having something of knowledge. You know, when you impart knowledge to someone else, not because you're gaining control of them, but because they see how influential mind power is, mindset is, you can believe that you are possible. When we think about how competent we really are, knowledge is accessible. We want you to know that you have to challenge yourself each day. How many of you are really challenging yourself on a daily basis? Anybody? Anybody challenging themselves on a daily basis?
I am.
And how is that in connection with what you believe? How does that work?
So I've been challenging myself musically for daily to just polish up on my artistry and my production. And that goes into the belief that I am creative and I can allow myself to be creative. And so, and I'm in also in control of my creativity. So it ties in with that. So me practicing on music, playing guitar, playing keyboard, and just getting the things that I can make more music with. That's how I'm challenging myself daily with my creativity.
And what do you believe about your creativity?
I believe that it is beautiful and it's also very motivational. And also, it symbolizes how I feel about my creativity, which is freedom.
I love that. By the way, today's song is about believing in yourself while you believe in others. Trish, you just jogged my memory. In that song, Whitney Houston talks about being free to believe in you. I like that because it does. I have to take a break for a second. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so wild. But now, what are there things that you should let go of? What do you think? What are some beliefs that you need to let go of? You know, those things that keep you from doing what you could be doing, you could have done, you should have done. Sound familiar? Could have, would have, should have, but I didn't because of. Let's understand self-doubt. Anybody here? Self-doubt? You doubt it? Not even about others. You doubt it about yourself. Did you make a believer out of yourself that, hey, I can do this? Or was it the usual that you decided, I'm going to wait until someone says, you can do this? Today, I'm going to say to you, stop limiting yourself. Believe because you have the capability to think it up. If you can think it, you can do it. If you believe, you can achieve, says Walt Disney. Some things are ingrained in our minds. You know, a person gives you enough praise, you're going to soar high, right? Because they've given you the praise. And you believe that you can do it. But what happens if you live in a world where you received absolutely no praise? What do you think would happen? What do you think, Trish?
Um, I think people would lose motivation and they would stop believing in themselves, I believe.
I like that. Your personal thoughts. But these are false narratives, guys. We want to X out the false narrative that you limit yourself, that you're lacking, that you are worthless, that you don't have enough time. You lack that. That means you don't have it. You don't have the ability to think up out believing in you. That's a false narrative. Now, as we think about the false narratives in our lives, maybe not you yourself, but there may be others who have told you that's not possible. And you started to doubt yourself. Maybe people do that because they don't have enough belief in themselves. They have limited themselves. I want you to think about words like this. I'm going to fail, so why try? When we think about those words, what are they doing to you as a person? Well, you just gave up before you even started. Words like this, I'm too old, or I'm too young, as if there were a strict law. Some of the things you might be too young for. too young to drink, too young to drive. And I want to go back to our childhood, speaking of that, because this is all about accessing ourselves. You ever notice that little kids, when they're in the car is turned off, and they want to start driving the wheel? How many of you have done that with the wheel turned or the car turned off?
I have.
We all have. And some of us don't have a memory of that. But I've noticed, even with my children when they were little, they used to do that all the time. Why is that? Because they've seen us do it. That's ingrained in them. They know that that car drives. What am I getting at? They believe that that car works. They believe that the wheel makes the car run, even in their little brains that are not fully developed to even try it yet. So don't give up. Don't think that you won't be able to achieve something. I want you to think about how you can do something. You might have a new passion. You might want to start painting. You might want to start a different job. You are never too old to learn. You're never too young to learn. If the babies can drive that wheel, the car off, and know the connection, and you say, wow, they're 2 years old and they know how to do that. They are demonstrating the ability to be able to do something. And that's within safety. Have you ever looked at somebody else's life and thought to yourself, look at their life. They have it so much easier than I do. So we start to compare. You ever done that, Trish? Or anybody that's done that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, and how did that work out for them, for you?
It didn't really help me because it made me feel like, well, I started doubting my success and my accomplishments, comparing myself to other people, and it just made me doubt everything in my life by comparing myself to other people. For
Yeah,
example, I see, me personally, I see old friends that I had, they're married now. They have kids, and I looked at myself. I said, "Where am I at?" And then I realized, you know what? Their pace is their pace. Mine is mine, and their life is my life, and my life is my life. And I graduated, so that's an accomplishment. So I did something, and I'm part of a podcast. I did something. I make music. I do something. Those
yeah,
things. And yeah, so it made me doubt myself, but then I had to realize, like I said, my life is my life.
yeah. And we have to really think about assuming that everybody's life is just handed to them, or everybody's success is handed to them. Because you'd be surprised as to how people became what they became. How many of us have felt we're all alone? No one feels like you feel. You're burnt out. No one understands it. How many of us have felt that way. We may have felt that way at one time or another, but those are the self-beliefs that we have to let go of. Because really, are you all alone? And that's what I love about Vibe Talk, is that when people come together, you're going to find out that someone else is feeling like you are. It's important. It's very important that we check things out. We want to be able to keep growing, not restricting the narratives of our life. We all have these things. We've talked about this. The can't do. Here's one that I used to feel like I can't trust people. When all along it should have been my experience with certain people has limited my trust. Does that sound better? What do you think, Trish?
Yes, I think so.
See, when we change our limited belief, things we must let go of. These commonality of things that we say, yeah, I feel like that. Uh, we went over some. Here was another one of mine. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of love. I struggled with that for many, many years. When it should have been, I didn't feel like I was loved enough. And then label that and give the reason why. If you make a statement, I will always have you follow it up with why. Because I limited myself. I limited people who loved me. They could only love me on my terms. And if I felt like it was going to, or if it was too good to be true, I would sabotage it. And sometimes I would cut it off before it got started. Here's a common one, or here's one that I've dealt with. I just can't handle rejection. You know, babies like to say no a lot, and I think they like to say no a lot because it's easy. It's just one syllable. No. They learn that very quickly. But they don't like for you to say no. Have you guys noticed that?
Yes, I have.
Isn't that funny how life is? They have learned that at such an early age, but they even know the sound of no. No. In fact, I saw a video that was so cute. Every time the parents said no, they would cry. But now, are we like that? Rejections, because rejection is painful. I'm going back to my story. When you have been rejected by someone or something that you loved, we're all familiar with that one. Sometimes in relationships, It may be a no, and we're trying to find ways to force it. Either with ourselves, it's been done to, or others, and you just can't handle rejection. Is it like that word that the baby hears no? Or is there something further as to why you may not be able to handle that? A lot of people think about not having enough money. That's true with all of us these days. We're all struggling to survive. Gas is so high where we live, it's almost $6, $7. We steady limit ourselves without thinking about what we could do. What we could do with our beliefs. So what can we do? When you think about your core beliefs, I want you to think about your most deepest fundamental truth that you believe. What do you believe? I want you to be able to look at that. How do you feel? How do you think about the core beliefs? Today, let's just do one. I believe that I'm determined. Which means I believe that no matter what happens, I'm determined to make it happen. And nobody can say she didn't try. She didn't try. I want you to be able to identify what you believe. I want you to think about your negative by starting with this. If this were true that I'm not worthy or whatever it is, what does it mean for me? If it were true. Like, for instance, I used to say I'm not worthy. And if you'd ask me why, I couldn't tell you. But because I have learned to connect with myself, I understand exactly why. Because the environment that I placed myself at. You can't make people love you. And what I should have thought about, do I love myself? And again, do I accept my faults? Because sometimes I'm projecting on others what I'm feeling, and it's not fair. So think about that. Think about, if it were true, what does it mean for you? There are things that we should believe in ourselves. We should believe that your connection to you and your freedom is a motivation for driven success. Your connection to you and your freedom. Come a little closer, sir. Is a motivation for driven success. I lead from who I am, not just what I achieve. Come a little closer. I lead from who I am, not just what I achieve. A lot of people are really like this, you know. They might drive the fanciest car because they need to keep up, or they need people to think or believe one way about them. But am I driven by that car? Perhaps. The reality is that I drive the car and I am not that car. You see how that works? Your impact matters more. Your impact matters more. Think about that. There's so many beautiful things that we must think. We must know. Your hold on. I'm trying to get that. Okay. I want you to think about the way that you might look at something versus how others see you. Because what we do with ourselves, we start to judge ourselves. I want you to make a belief wheel. Kind of like that steering wheel that the baby drives when the car is parked. And I want you to put your judgment, your beliefs, and what has resulted. Because here's what happens. You are in control of what you do. You have the influence over what you do, what you think, how you feel. Even if you can't control the circumstances, your reaction is your control. We think about challenges a lot in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. That's a word, one of our sight words, if you will, challenge. If you don't face that challenge, if you avoid the challenge because you fear failure, what will you replace it with? Every day is a chance to build capability. Everything we ever face is a chance to be able to say, I am, I did, and I will. Remember how I told you guys I was afraid of flying? I challenged that fear, not thinking that I could ever overcome it. But there was somewhere I wanted to go, and I wanted to go to Disney World. And I knew the only way that I was going to get to Disney World is to get in that plane. What influenced me? Well, of course, Mickey Mouse. What other influence? Someone that I knew that would make me feel safe. What other influences? When I saw those young people, little kids, they were pushing or strolling along with their travel cases. It's one little boy who had the deepest impact on me. Here he was. I don't have any idea where they were going. I saw him in the airport. He was so cute. He had this little, I call it a Gilligan's hat, Gilligan's Island hat. But he had his little fisherman's hat, let's call it that, so you guys can know what I'm talking about. Little shorts on, his sandals. He couldn't have been any more than 7. Was pushing this thing, had no worries. And I thought about it at that moment, I can be just like that child. He has no fears, no worries. He hasn't thought about, he didn't look like he thought about, what if? He's going wherever he's going. And he's got a job to do. To get on that plane. And from that little boy's impact, I was able to get on that plane and fear not anything. I never thought I would get on a plane. Whatever it is that is limiting you, maybe the plane is not the idea, but I want you to be able to improve your skill to acknowledge what it is that you can do more. Rewrite the narrative in your life. Because you see, I used to always say, I won't trust. Nobody can love me. I'm scared of rejection. But I don't want to hear anybody say no. But I've said no in my life. You've said no in your life. We've faced challenges. We've learned to love ourselves even in our own darkest moments. We've taught ourselves about love a thing or two that nobody could teach us. We had to just learn it on our own. I want you to remember this thought, and then we're going to Trisha's treasure. I lead from who I am, not just what I achieve. We're going to be right back. Men in Their Emotions book out now, published by me with a little help from today's technology. Written and inspired for the men in your lives. Also for couples who want a little bit more of understanding of today's man. I want you to meet 3 men that will inspire you. It's okay, men, to just be men. Try my book, Men and Their Emotions, out now. We're back with Trisha's Treasures. Trish.
So, while listening to this episode, I thought about how it was hard for me as an artist to post like some of my music, and that has a lot to do with on how you believe in yourself. That has a lot to do with, do you believe that this music is impactful? Do you even like your music? That's one thing. And as an artist, I've heard so many artists say, I don't like listening to myself. I don't like hearing my sound. Even actors and actresses, many artists and celebrities. And I understand that because that was me. After I post something, um I was a very self-critical person because many times I wondered, is this good enough? Should I keep going? Should I keep posting? And the validation from other people's comments, it really motivated me a lot. But then those comments, I had to realize that sometimes you can't look at what other people think of you. It starts with you, the person that you see in the mirror. What do you believe? So, a personal belief that I had to let go of is saying that I'm not good enough. And that is something that was very hard for me to let go of, but it turned around and it made me post things that I second guessed. It made me make songs that I second guessed. It made me confident in who I am, in my creativity. So, in closing, I hope that anyone that is struggling with any self doubt, anything that is making them question who they are and their beliefs in themselves, I hope you guys take a moment to discover who you are, take a moment to reflect on who you are, and face that challenge and own up to who you truly are. Thank you.
You want more of Trisha's treasures? Go to our YouTube page. Subscribe. Free. You want to hear more of her music? You can find all of her musical inspirations on her own page, and you should try it. And also in the comment section. We are back. Thank you, Trish, for that. Think About Thursday is not just another questionnaire, but it's deeply motivating, creating for you something in which to think about thoughtfully. We have something very important coming up, and that is 4 days, 4 day uh, Minute Emotions workshop. Please, I'm posting it everywhere. I want the men to be able to get online. It's going to be right here, and you'll find all the times and the dates for it. Uh, Once it's posted to you, post it to others. I've already saw some of you who are really supporting that. Thank you. Um, Facebook gets a lot of notifications. If you want to know something, put it on Facebook. um, we had someone that actually did put it on their Facebook. A few people. Thank you. The book is going to be included in the workshop. The book that is out now does not have the worksheet in them. This is going to be a really great look at men having emotions. You're going to learn all about the men in your lives. It is a men's workshop, but if you want to come as a couple, you can. The price for that is $50. $50 includes all 4 days plus the book. So if you want something to invest in, Try that out. Men and their emotions. I'm excited about that, Trish. What do you think?
I'm excited about it too, and I did finish the book, and I really loved it. It made me cry, and I'm just so excited for you guys to read it.
Yeah. Of course, we're not going to talk about it, but I am going to get your feeling right after the show because it's going to be part of a clip that we're going to be showing you. Um, those who are reading it, thank you. I've asked several people and of course, Trish gets things firsthand because she is part of the Vibe Talk family. Those who want to pay for it, all you have to do is send your $10 to our Vibe Talk Face the Lion in Cashapp and let me know that you've done that. I will confirm it and send you an online book. What's so nice about it is that you can use it for your tablet. Um, we are going to, where there's one book, there's going to be others. I'll just say that for now. So, get your copy and tell me what you think about it. Thank you, Trish, for all that you do. Thank you to our audience all over the world. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for joining our page. Please, guys, check out our YouTube page at Vibe Talk Facing the Lion Podcast and Healing Center. And check out our Instagram at uh, Vibe underscore talk. Vibe Talk on Instagram. Have a good day, and thank you guys for Think About Thursday. Have a good one.